All right, class. It's very nice to meet you all virtually. My name is Brian Murphy. I'll be your professor for this semester. And this is the video where I go over the syllabus. Now, I know this may sound like a bunch of humdrum and legalese, but the syllabus is very important because it is a binding contract between student and professor. It is therefore very important to know all of the policies on the syllabus, or at least the ones that pertain to me specifically as an instructor, so that you can know what is expected and set the terms of the course. By signing the course agreement form, you indicate that you have read and agreed to the syllabus. So make sure that you do read it, not only because the course form requires it, but also because there is a quiz that will be one of your first 2 grades in the class that's due this coming Sunday. And it will be over the syllabus, particularly those policies which pertain to me. So without further ado, I will share the syllabus with you and we will go over it. I'll try to be as basic as possible and not spend too much time on things that are not very interesting. I encourage you to go over it on your own time and make sure that you understand everything so that there's no confusion when the course begins. All right. Just 1 second here, it's loading. Okay. All right, so what you'll see up here, weekly schedule, this is an online class. What that means is that we don't actually have any in-person meetings or any kind of virtual meetings really at all. What I will do is post lecture videos to supplement the content. There'll be other things that you'll need to read and stuff, and you kind of take the course that way. So we won't be meeting even virtually, so you can take things kind of at your own time and work at 3 in the morning if you want to. But that's just the way that it's going to play out. So my name is Brian Murphy. My email address is brian.murphy@wescatech.edu. This is my primary preferred mode of communication. I ask that you email me if you would like to ask me any questions or bring anything up to my attention, schedule an appointment, that kind of thing. The reason I prefer that is because it's much easier for me to keep up with one inbox than it is for me to keep up with 6 or 7. And it just streamlines the communication. When you do send me an email, please make sure you include your full name as it appears on the roster, and also please include the course CRN, which for your course is 40797. You can see that number on Blackboard when you log in to the course. My office, I do have an office. It's on the Coweta campus. It's the room number is B228. I also have an office phone number. Now, I work between Carrollton and Coweta. So sometimes I'm in my office, sometimes I'm not. Again, the best way to get in contact with me is email, but if you prefer to talk on the phone, particularly during office hours, which are listed here, that may be a good way to get in contact with me. My office hours are from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Tuesday and Thursday. I ask that you please confirm office visits by email. Just send me an email and say, hey, I'm going to show up at this time. That way I'm not off talking to another professor or an administrator or in the other building or something like that making copies. I can be there for you to address your specific needs when you need me. And I will be there during that time. Also, if those times do not work for you and you would like to come by the Coweta office, which I doubt that many of you will, but if you would like to, you may try to make an appointment with me for some other time. Just send me an email and ask for my availability. Okay, one of the cool things about this class is that we don't require a textbook. I know that maybe some of you have had experience in the past with college textbooks. They are very expensive and they're usually come with some complicated software, and we prefer for the composition courses in the English department not to mess with textbooks and not to require that students purchase any expensive, cumbersome text. There is a textbook, however. It is a PDF file that will be included in the Blackboard lessons section. It is called, well, I can't remember exactly what it's called. I will find it in a minute. It's listed down. It's at the top of the lessons folder. I think it's called Basics of College Composition or something like that. And it will have all the chapters and things like that for the lessons that you may want to read over and stuff like that. We will use the book. We will not be dependent on the book. There are other supplemental lecture materials as well. Okay, so learner supplies, you're going to need a flash drive, okay? You always want to have a flash drive. You always want to make sure that you back your files up, particularly your essay files. Paper and pen, that goes without saying. Microsoft Word, not Works, not Perfect, not WordPad. You really need to get Microsoft Word. Now, one of the cool things about the school is that they provide a free Office 365, which this is usually, I think it's like close to $100. I'm not sure if you buy it from the store. But we provide it free with your college email, and there is a hyperlink in the syllabus. If that link gives you problems for some reason, just reach out by email, and I will send you the link through the email, and you can download that for free. That includes Microsoft Word, which is what you should write your essays on. If you write the essay in Google Docs or WordPad or some other word processor, there's a lot of problems with converting the file usually. Glitches and errors can happen, and then you get points taken off and you don't know why. So just go ahead, get it out of the way, download Microsoft Word so that we can get started. You are going to need to make sure that you have internet access in some way. It's preferable that you have it at your home so that you can take these assignments whenever you're at home and you can get them out of the way. If you need to come to one of the campuses, we have several campuses spread out all throughout West Georgia. And so if you would like to come to a campus, I think with very few exceptions, all of the West Georgia Tech sites have libraries and things like that and computer labs. So if you need a place near you, you can use that option. We prefer that you use Mozilla Firefox or Google Chrome. Please don't use any of the other, like Safari or anything like that, because it's very buggy. The one that works best with Blackboard, without question, is Mozilla Firefox. If you don't have Firefox, you can use Chrome, and Chrome does work, although I have noticed that there are maybe one or two bugs in the Chrome that aren't in the Firefox. It varies. Computers are very complicated. So this is the stuff that you're going to want to know for the syllabus quiz, which again is due this coming Sunday. I will check the date on that for you. Sunday the 16th. All of the stuff is usually due on Sunday. I think some of the essays might be due on Wednesdays. So make sure that you check the course schedule, which is attached to the syllabus. And I'll also include due dates in various announcements and at the top of the lessons folders and things like that, so that you'll know what's going on. So these policies you're going to be quizzed on these in the virtual quiz. So please make sure that you pay attention. You can read this document on your own time as well if you want to study. The first policy that I have is over plagiarism and academic dishonesty. Plagiarism and academic dishonesty is a big deal in English classes because a lot of people, when it's time to write an essay, they look for shortcuts and ways to get around doing the assignment. A lot of this involves copying material from the internet. Sometimes you pay somebody to write the essay for you. Sometimes there are essay mills and websites that you can go to where you can just purchase a fresh essay and all sorts of things like that. So we are always working against plagiarism, and we're very good at catching it. I, in particular, pride myself on my ability to catch plagiarism because I have been doing this for a few years now, and I've gotten pretty good at it. So I have a zero tolerance policy for plagiarism and academic dishonesty. If you cheat on a quiz, if you copy and paste material in a discussion and you don't cite it, or if you plagiarize a major essay, either by taking material from the internet or from another source, or by paying someone else to write it for you. If I catch you doing that, you get a 0 in the assignment. Now, with regards to discussion boards and quizzes and little assignments that we do here and there, I'll just give you the 0, tell you not to do it again, and we'll just go on about our business. In the event that you plagiarize a major essay, you're going to get a 0 on a grade that is 20% of the final grade. Okay? Please do not do this. And I will show you, there is a lecture that I will include in this folder about plagiarism and how to avoid it. And I will be very clear and go over that with you so that you know exactly what it is and how to avoid it. There's also a quiz over plagiarism, so it's a big deal. If you deny plagiarism to me, if I accuse you of plagiarism in one of your major writing assignments and you say, no, I didn't plagiarize, I'm going to forward this to the Dean of Student Affairs, because I can't be wrong. I can't be if I am accusing students of plagiarism who have not plagiarized, I need to know that for my personal reasons. So I will forward it to the dean, and the dean can decide objectively if she thinks she plagiarized or not, and we will go with her decision. In the event, though, that I believe the dean is a she. I think they may have just gotten a new one. In the event that that person verifies my suspicion, though, I may be inclined to pursue a code of conduct violation, which goes on your record and all that stuff. So please, if you plagiarize and you get caught, it's in your best interest just to own up to it. And I will go over in a separate video exactly what plagiarism is and how to avoid it. The next clause is the preferred communications clause. Please use my email, your email, school email account that they have given you to send me emails instead of using the Blackboard messaging system. This is a big one for me. I don't really look at the Blackboard messaging system very often. Maybe a couple of times through the semester I'll check to make sure students aren't using it and reach out to you if you are, say, hey, please don't use this system. The reason I do that, as I said, is I like to keep everything streamlined. So please send me an email, always an email. Include your name and the course CRN, as well as whatever question you may have for me. Turnitin Dropbox policy. When we hand in major essays, they all go through this beautiful little program called Turnitin. The main reason that we do that, it's embedded in Blackboard, by the way. If you've used Turnitin before, you may have logged in on Turnitin's actual website. We don't do that. We have it embedded in Blackboard. It's just a Dropbox. You just attach it to the Dropbox, and it works just like Turnitin would normally work. And the reason that we use that is because it has a plagiarism check. So it tells you've used material from another source, and if so, where? Was it a essay from another student? Was it from the internet generally? Was it some other source? So we have that feature embedded. If you do not hand in your essay to Turnitin, it does not get graded, okay? Period. I don't grade essays by email. I don't grade hard copies, none of that stuff. You've got to hand it in to Turnitin. Sometimes there are bugs and problems, okay? You should open a help desk ticket if you ever have any problems with software. That can be done through the West Georgia Tech website, and it's on you to resolve those issues. If it's like right before the due date and you're having problems, you can't turn it in, you can send it to me to show that you did it on time, but it must go through the Dropbox if it's going to be graded. Okay, that's just a policy, so please be aware of that. Make sure that you get it in the right place. Sometimes there are bugs. We just have to get around them as best we can. All right, next page. It's taking a second to load here. Well, okay, sorry about that. Bit of a glitch there, folks. Hopefully you can see it now clearly. Okay, the next thing is the feedback policy. Sometimes I do give feedback to students through email on essays. If you send it to me, I can only give you general feedback. I can't correct all the errors. Please make sure that you send me anything that you need feedback on in a prompt manner so that I can get back to it. If you send it to me right up to the due date, I'm probably not. There's just usually too much going on. Issues with Chromebooks. So if you have Chromebook as your primary laptop or whatever for this course, please be aware that there are problems with Chromebooks. That is very common. I would prefer that you use some other computer if you can, but if you can't, just know there may be some bugs, and I'm giving you a heads up so you can maybe procure some other means. Remember, all of the campuses have computer labs and libraries and things where you have access to technology, so if you need to use that, please do. The content advisory, so some of the stuff that we read and study in this class can be a little bit disturbing at times. It can offend your sensibilities, maybe, depending on who you are. Every student is different. While I respect your opinions and I welcome you to express those opinions, either in assignments or discussion boards or whatever, I also do not allow for content to be dismissed on the basis of moral objection. So basically, if you have a moral objection about something that we read, you are free to express that moral objection. However, I'm not going to give you something different to read or whatever based on that objection. Disruptive behavior, this really shouldn't be a problem. Please don't be a jerk. Be cordial with me, I'll be cordial with you. I like to just kind of get along well with my students, and so as long as you're cordial in your communications and you're very respectful, should be no problem. Okay, that's the online shift. We don't have to worry about that because this class is totally online. Now, I do a pretty good job of cleaning up the Blackboard shell, but sometimes there are things in Blackboard that are either supplemental materials or maybe they're left over from when I put my own lessons in place of the other ones. So all I would say is please consult the syllabus and schedule to make sure you know what's due and when. The syllabus doesn't lie, the schedule doesn't lie. So please go to the syllabus and schedule. It'll tell you everything when it's due and what's to be expected. So there shouldn't be any surprises. The late work policy. So there are basically two different late work policies. One of them applies to like daily grades, like quizzes and discussions. And that policy is basically this. If you miss a quiz or a discussion, you need to be able to show me a credible reason for you missing that quiz or discussion, or you can't remake it, okay? The reason being is I have too many students, too many assignments. I can't be keeping up with all these extensions and stuff on daily assignments. If you're not able to prove that you had some kind of emergency, like if you, for example, had to drop everything you were doing and go and take care of a sick relative, and you could verify that to me somehow, that would be a credible excuse. Or if you had a death in the family, or if you got really sick, or if if your kids got really, really sick, as long as you can verify a emergency type scenario, I usually give students a little bit of flack with late work. Now, I may ask you for proof. In all likelihood, I will, because I've had a lot of students basically lie about stuff like this to get extensions. So you may be asked to provide some manner of proof. That could be a doctor's note. That could be a photograph of your car on fire, something like that, to give me some kind of indication of what the emergency was and whether or not it actually took place. Regarding major essays, 5 points a day late per major essay, and that's far less than most English instructors, particularly in this department. However, that is a very strict policy. If you're late a day, 2 days, 5, 10, 15 points, cumulative up to 100. At a certain point, it becomes not in your interest to even attempt the assignment, right? Because you get too much taken off. So these policies are firm. They will not be adjusted for any student, and I hope you understand why. Pop quiz. I don't really have any pop quizzes because all the stuff is online. But I do reserve the right to give pop quizzes as well as any other spontaneous assignments that I think might be beneficial to my students. All right, moving on to page 4. Okay. The Respondus Browser, you will need to download the Respondus Browser. There's instructions for it at the top of the Lessons tab. It's a pain, but it's required by the state that we use this browser to proctor an online assignment. So please, I'm giving you a heads up. This is something you'll need to do. One of the assignments will be proctored. I will tell you which one it is, and you will have to download the browser and basically the software to take the proctored assignment. So giving you a heads up. If you have more questions about that, please reach out to me. All right. Page 5. Moving right along. Okay, withdrawals. This is an important thing. If you decide to withdraw from a class, you have to do it before the withdrawal date. Otherwise, you get an F, basically, a WF, which is meaning that you withdrew and got an F in the class. So please be aware that if you're going to withdraw, you have to do it before the deadline. Now, to your benefit, I think the deadline is very late. I think it's like April 19th or something crazy like that, later than we've ever had it, with the exception of last semester. So you have time to withdraw, and it can be good to withdraw before the deadline if you know you're not going to pass the class because you're missing major assignments or something has happened. You can withdraw, and it will still go on your transcript that you withdrew from the class, but you won't get an F, which will affect your GPA. So please be aware of that. Be aware of the deadline. It is very important to do that if you are. Now, I will say sometimes if you withdraw, it can screw up your financial aid. So make sure you factor that in. This is some stuff about major and minor errors and stuff like that. Just with regards to grading, you can look that over. It's not a huge deal. Okay, this is how the course breakdown is. First of all, there is a basic skills diagnostic assignment, okay, which you all need to do by next Sunday, by Sunday the 23rd. You need to take the diagnostic basic skills. It's at the top of the lessons folder. You can see it very clearly. You got to take it. It's I think it's a pretty long quiz. And if you got to get over a 70 on it. If you get below a 70, you have to do the basic skills assignments over the duration of the semester in order to basically make sure that you have all of the necessary writing skills to make it onto the next class. So there is a diagnostic. This is information on the diagnostic. It's under the lessons folder. You got to take it. You got to get higher than a 70. If you get higher than a 70, you can. That's all. You don't have to do anything else. Students who score a 69 or lower on the diagnostic assessment will be required to complete the basic skills course folder. The objective of the folder is to use a modular approach to provide additional support to improving and developing writing skills. So you have to complete all of these assignments when they are due. It's listed on the schedule, and your grade will go up a little bit. And if you get a 70 and you want to take the extra basic skills to make your basic skills average go up, you can, but you won't be required to unless you get below 70. So here is the grade breakdown. This is how the grade is broken down. There are 3 major writing assignments of 20% each. They are 3 pages long each. They constitute totally 60% of the grade. So they are very, very, very important. The essays are the most important assignments. It is very, very rare that a student forgets to hand in an essay or doesn't hand in an essay and does well on the class. It's very hard. I've had maybe 1 or 2 students squeeze out a pass with a C if they miss major assignments, and they got 100 on everything else, basically. If you miss a major writing assignment, you're not in good shape. And if you still have time to hand it in late, you always should, because they make up a huge portion of the grade. The next percentage is learning activities. These will be reading quizzes and discussions. Throughout the semester, I will ask you to do a series of short readings and read one novel. And you will have quizzes over this reading material. It is 15% of the final grade. 20% of the final grade is dedicated to tests and pre-writing. I don't take pre-writing for a grade, although I encourage you to do it. But this category will be the Syllabus Quiz, the Plagiarism Quiz, and all of the Rhetorical Strategies chapter tests, which will be included in the lessons folders. And that will be 20%. And then the basic skill stuff, this includes the diagnostic and the mastery folder, totally makes up 5%. It's a small amount, but it's very good that we have this in place, because if you don't have the foundation, you need to get it. So we have this diagnostic stuff, basic skills stuff to help you with that. So that's how the grade is divided in terms of the percentage. Should be very clear. Everything is in the grade book. The grade book should be set up by the end of this week, and you will have no confusion. The assignments will be ready for you for the first week on day 1. Right? Okay. All right. Okay. Now, this part is pretty important because this is we're going to go over the course schedule. And I'll try to make this quick, and I'll also try to get the dates in the calendar on Blackboard too, so that you have a heads up that way. So these are just stuff with the school, late registration, yada yada. For this week, you're going to want to read the course syllabus and then watch this lecture video, right? Intro to course and syllabus. Then watch the video over plagiarism and academic dishonesty. I'll also include the slideshow for that video in the folder. You can go over that as well if you want. There's two more very short lectures, the intro to rhetorical strategies in the writing process, and then an intro to essay 1 and essay rubric. All of those will be ready to go, so you can watch them for the first week. The first two have assignments associated with them. That is the Syllabus Quiz and the Plagiarism Quiz. Those are going to be due this coming Sunday on the 16th. They're pretty easy quizzes. You shouldn't have a hard time with them. But do make sure you review particularly my personal syllabus policies in this syllabus, which I just went over with you, and also the slides and the lecture on plagiarism before you do these assignments. Okay, then week 2, there is no class anywhere on Monday, so if you have in-person classes, I just let you know that's canceled. I'm going to give you a lecture on the basics of MLA formatting and parts of an essay. So this will be about the thesis and topic sentences, the intro paragraph, the body paragraph, and the conclusion paragraph. Remember, this is composition and rhetoric, so the main thing we're trying to learn is how to compose an essay and how to use rhetorical strategies to get our ideas across. So I'm going to go over all that stuff for you, let you know how essays are constructed in the collegiate format and how to manage that. The fee payment deadline is the 19th, so please be aware of that. Here's the next page. Moving right along. All right. I also want you to read The Allegory of the Cave by Plato, which will be, each of these weeks has a corresponding folder on Blackboard, and all of the stuff for that week will be in that folder. So you can read The Allegory of the Cave. It's in the folder for week 2. And then on that Sunday, I want you to do a brief quiz over the Allegory of the Cave, very simple. And I also want you to have the basic skills diagnostic test completed by then. You might want to get a jump start on that one this week since you don't have that much to start off. But it is due by the 23rd, so make sure you get it knocked out. Remember, you got to get above a 70. Week 3, we're going to watch, you're going to have a lecture on the process strategy. So one of the rhetorical strategies that you can use on essay 1. As well as the compare and contrast strategy. Then I'm going to give you a brief video on my thoughts about Allegory of the Cave, which I think is a very important text for people to read, especially when they're starting out on their collegiate career, because it's about opening your mind to the process of learning and overcoming your internal biases. It's a very, very important text. Also, you can read the chapters on process and compare and contrast strategy to accompany the lecture videos, because there are 2 quizzes, the rhetorical strategy test. Now, the way I do rhetorical strategy tests is they're pretty substantial tests, but you get 2 attempts. So if you screw one up, you get a second attempt, and then I take the higher grade. If you got below a 70 on the basic skills assignments will be listed here. They're only optional if you got above a 70. If you got below a 70, you have to take this stuff. So the first basic skill is also due that Sunday. And then week 4, classification and division strategy lecture, cause and effect strategy lecture. And of course, there will be quizzes for those that Sunday. As well as so we have the chapters you can read as well, the chapters from the book. The isolated chapters will be in the folders for the week, the lesson folders. Or you can look at the full text, which will also be included under the Lessons tab in Blackboard. And I will show you where that stuff is after this is done so you won't be confused. Then I have a rhetorical strategy test for each of those, classification, division, and cause and effect. There is a discussion board, which will be due Sunday, February 6th. Please make sure that you do the discussion sometime in advance so that you have time to comment on other students, because that is part of the requirement. Basic Skills 2 will also be due that Sunday. Week 5, we're going to talk a little bit about editing essays in a lecture. Then we're going to go, I want you to read The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, which is a very interesting short text. There will be a quiz over the lottery due February the 13th. Basic Skills 3 will also be due on February the 13th. Week 6, there's going to be a short film on the lottery that you can watch, a lecture on persuasion, argumentation, and exemplification, the intro to Essay 2, and some thoughts on the lottery. Those are the lecture content that I want you to watch. And these videos will not be very long. I will try to keep them short and sweet with just enough content so that you can understand it. I know this video may be a little bit longer than you like, but that's because we have to go over this policy so that everybody's on the same page. Okay. Essay 1 is going to be due Wednesday, February the 16th. Okay, so please be aware of that date. Very important. The essays will be due on Wednesdays, and the other assignments typically are due on Sundays. And so be aware of that difference as well. Week 7, we're going to practice the persuasion strategy. I'm going to read you a funny essay that I wrote called Poultry for POTUS, which is an argumentative essay, but it's also a satire. It's like a joke essay. It's about why my rooster should be elected president of the United States. I keep chickens as a hobby, so it's kind of funny. And I have a little campaign video that we can watch for him. It's just trying to show you how to write an argumentative essay, and also trying to bring some lighthearted humor into this class that can be sometimes a little bit heady, right? Okay, so read the persuasion strategy chapter, read Letter from Birmingham Jail, which is by Martin Luther King. That's a short reading that will also be in the folder for that week. You have that weekend, February the 27th, you have MLK's Letter from a Birmingham Jail quiz. It'll be a short quiz over the reading. You have a short quiz over the persuasion strategy. And if you are required to do basic skills, you need to do basic skills 5. Week 8, we're going to practice the exemplification strategy in a lecture video. We're also going to practice the credibility test, which is how to verify sources from academic sources as credible and usable in your essay. We're going to talk about how to use Galileo, which is the Georgia Library Online, and that will tell you how to do research and figure things out for real, credible research. I'll also provide a short lecture video over my thoughts on Letter from Birmingham Jail, which should be interesting. And then we will move right along. Okay. Also read the exemplification lecture notes if it helps. It's a supplemental chapter. It's not actually in the textbook itself, but it will be included in that folder. So you can read those notes to help you study for the test. Ooh, the rhetorical strategy test. Remember, you do get 2 attempts on those tests. That'll be due March 6th, and the discussion 2 over the credibility test will also be due March 6th, as well as basic skills 6 if you need to do it. The week 9, we're going to watch the lecture video on the practicing argumentation. We're going to watch a video on a modest proposal. We're going to read the argumentation lecture notes. We're going to read Jonathan Swift's A Modest Proposal. And then that weekend, Sunday, March 13th, we have a modest proposal quiz. Please be advised that the quiz is over the reading and not the video. The video is like a modern adaptation, which I like to include, but the text will be where the quiz questions are coming from. So you will want to read it. Then if you need to do basic skills 7, it's due that weekend. Week 10, I will record something called a roast workshop. And this is where, so if you've ever heard a roast, like the roast of Justin Bieber or some other person on Comedy Central or wherever you've seen it, it's where you kind of like, you make fun of people, and it's sort of lighthearted and fun, but also it can get a little mean and heavy. So that's not really the part I'm trying to replicate. What I do is I take your thesis and topic sentences from your first essay, and I put them into a Word document anonymously. Then I make a video going through each one and talking about its strengths and weaknesses, so that we can better learn as a class how to write properly. Excuse me. So the roast workshop is just to keep you on your toes. You know that the stuff that you write is going to be shared, and you know that you will be able to watch that video so that you can learn what you specifically did wrong, as well as what you did right and wrong by comparison to your peers. It is a very useful thing, so I do ask that you watch that video. I'll also do a little video over the final tips for Essay 2, just give you some final pointers, things to think about going into that second essay, which is due, we'll wait for this to load, which is due Sunday, March 20th. No, sorry, that's the Basic Skills 8. Essay 2 is due Wednesday, March 23rd, and that's on week 11. So we will start week 11 by doing the intro to George Orwell in 1984. So for the third and last unit of the class, I ask you to read a novel by a guy named George Orwell. It's called 1984. It is a dystopian novel about how a totalitarian government takes over the world, and it's about this guy and his struggle against that government. It's a very, very profound text. Some of you may have read it before for a previous class. Others of you may have just heard of it. If you've ever heard the expression, Big Brother is watching you, Big Brother comes from this particular text. So we will read a novel. Now, I will provide a PDF of the novel so you can get it for free that way. I will also provide links to audiobooks. I love audiobooks because I can put in my headphones and go to the gym and go for a walk or whatever and clean the dishes and listen. Some people have a hard time listening and keeping up with it, but me personally, I can put those headphones in and just go for it. So I will include audiobook as well as PDF file. You do have to read it because I will quiz you over it. Book 1 will be March 27th. There are 3 books to 1984. I think book 1 is chapters 1 through 8, and book 2 has 10 chapters, and then book 3 has 6, I believe. I will, when it comes time to read the novel, I will send you out an announcement with the chapter breakdown, so you know exactly, as well as the chapters, what is expected each week. Basic Skills 9 will also be due that week, as well as Essay 2 on that Wednesday, March 23rd. Week 12. I'm gonna provide a lecture on book 1. So we'll go over everything that you read and were already quizzed on. And then I'll give you a little bit of prep for writing about literature, because your third essay will actually be about the novel. I will ask you a question about the novel, and you will have to answer it using the novel as evidence as well as secondary sources. We'll get more to it. Don't let what I'm saying overwhelm you right now. I'll get more into that as the semester progresses. But I'll have that available for you there. And then due Sunday is going to be the quiz over book 2, as well as the basic skills 10 and discussion 3, which is create your own dystopia. The discussion boards will be embedded in the lessons folders as well. So you can just go in there and make your initial post, and then you comment on 2 other people's posts. It's a way to facilitate discussion during the online format. And I only ask that you do 4 discussions, which is not very many. Okay, we're almost done. Week 13 is spring break. I still include a space for it so that you don't get confused. The basic skills 11 is due, otherwise you got the spring break to do whatever you want. We'll come back week 14. We're going to talk about George Orwell's book 2. Then you're going to read book 3 and have a quiz over book 3 on April the 17th. And basic skills 12 is also due the 17th. Week 15, there'll be the lecture over the final book. April 19th, which is in week 15, 15 weeks to decide whether or not you want to withdraw. April 19th is the withdrawal date. So please be aware that if you don't withdraw by the 19th, you're stuck with me, and you better hope you don't fail. That's a joke. So then basic skills 13 is due that weekend. We'll have another roast workshop in week 16, as well as basic skills 14. And then to wrap things up, we have basic skills 15 due Sunday, May 1st. Discussion 4 also due on May 1st, and that's an evaluation of the class. Very easy. How'd you like it? What could I do better? How could I be a better online professor? That kind of thing. And then week 17, essay 3 will be due May the 4th. May the 4th be with you always. And final grades will be online by May 10th. So that is the semester. It may seem like a lot, but I think that you will enjoy it if you put your nose to the grindstone and watch all my videos and read the supplemental materials. The thing about online courses is that it's really important that you self-motivate. So, of course, I'll be here to help you with that process, but you really need to stay on task because, remember, I don't allow makeup work without a credible excuse. So you got to stay on task, and you got to make sure that you don't miss those deadlines, with the exception, of course, of essays, which are 5 months ago. Okay. The last thing I want to show you, I feel like I'm all over the place. I thank you guys for your patience in that regard. The last thing I want to show you is just kind of a brief overview of what the home page looks like. So hopefully you can all see this. Let me, okay. All right, good. So here is the course homepage. So the announcements that I post will be right here under announcements. The syllabus, which you need to read, is under the syllabus tab. It's already in there. And I may make changes to that. If I do, I'll send you a email letting you know. And then all of the lessons are going to be right here under the lessons tab. Click on the lessons tab. It's going to take you to the course agreement form, and then there's going to be a lesson folder. So I will make that available. Actually, right. Well, it should be available. Oh, yeah, you have to. Okay, so you have to do the course agreement form. Then you can see the lessons folder. Click on the lessons folder. Okay, and this is the way it's set up. Here's the stuff for that Respondus Browser, which for the one proctored assignment we're going to do. I'll let you know which one that is. You're going to need to download this stuff. It's probably going to be a pain, just letting you know. Here's a little bit of a notification of how to contact me by email and stuff. Here's the textbook, Successful College Composition. It has all of the chapters, but remember the chapters are isolated and placed into the lessons folders, which are down below. So if you want to use the full text, you can, or you want to use the isolated chapters, they'll be included with the lessons. This is the basic skills diagnostic assessment information. Here's the diagnostic assessment itself. This is the quiz. You got to make 70% or higher. You have one attempt. Also, please do not close out anything. Make sure you have strong working internet, because if you get kicked out of here, it's hard for me to tell whether or not it was intentional or not. So you want to make sure you do it in one attempt. Pretty much this is the case for all of the assignments. There's the stuff for basic skills mastery. That will contain, if you get below a 70, that will contain the lessons that you need to do. Here's the writing assignments folder. That contains the essay prompts as well as the drop boxes for the 3 essays, the 3 writing assignments that are each worth 20%. This is a writing resources folder, which contains a lot of stuff about MLA formatting as well as other things to help you with writing an essay. There are no assignments in this folder, but it is a good resource for you to have so that you can have a little bit of extra material for when you write those essays. And here I have all of the weeks. It'll go down. I'm still finishing it. Each week is labeled with the dates. I start the week on a Monday and end it on a Sunday, just because I have a lot of stuff that's due on a Sunday and I don't want to confuse everybody. So the first week is the 10th through the 16th. And each week the dates are listed. When you click on it, the assignments will be inside. So you can just go by the weeks, go by the dates. Each week you should click on each folder and make sure you got everything done in each folder. I will send you out reminders and things like that at the start of the week. Also, I will try to get these lecture videos recorded early so that you can work ahead. I know some of you have a lot going on and you'd like to work ahead, so I will try to enable you to do that by doing some stuff in advance. So that's basically, excuse me, how the course is laid out. You can see the grade center over here on the left to see your grades and things like that. I don't know how it looks for you. This is the student view, the instructor view. But that is basically how we do it. That's what's expected. Those are the assignments. Sorry if that was a little bit confusing. You can go over that stuff yourself. Remember, you'll be quizzed over my instructor-specific policies mainly. I'm not going to ask you like due dates and things like that. So if you want to study for the syllabus quiz, make sure you read over that stuff in particular. Okay. Also, the plagiarism slideshow, things like that. If you have any questions, send me an email. Let me know, and I'll be happy to help you out. And I'm looking forward to a very positive semester, even though this is an online class and that can sometimes be a struggle. I hope that you will find it entertaining and engaging, and I'm looking forward to it. So have a wonderful day.